Gary, you introduced me to the law of cause and effect in Seed of the Soul, and you talk about it a lot in your book, or in your new book. Can you explain? You have the best explanation out of anyone I've ever heard talk about the law of cause and effect and how it affects everything in our life.
Yes. The law of cause and effect. Look at it as a message delivery system. Whenever you send a message out into the world, imagine that written on the envelope are the words, "Return to sender." Now, what is the message that you're sending? What is in the envelope? What is in the envelope is an experience that an intention and an action, a deed or words of yours have created in another person. So, for example, let's use sort of a television cliched example. You're betrayed. You're stood up at the aisle. That person who betrayed you has sent a message into the universe, and it's coming home. Yeah. It's just a matter of when. And when it comes home, what that person will experience is exactly what that person sent. And that message could have been sent last month or last year or 400 years ago. But when you receive it, the package that it comes in may look different. In other words, you may be stood up by someone at your wedding, but not necessarily, not even that frequently. You may be betrayed by a platoon leader in combat.
Yeah.
You may be betrayed by a friend who embezzles from you. But whatever the experience is that you caused in another, you will experience. The universal law of cause and effect, or karma, is the universal, impersonal teacher of responsibility. Eventually, you begin to connect the dots between your choices of intentions and your experiences. And when you do, you'll come to a remarkable conclusion that will rock your world. All of your experiences are karmic necessities. Oh, what happened to blaming people for what you feel? What happens to thanking people for what I feel? No, it's simpler than that. I created what I feel.
Yeah.
And I always will. So why not start creating constructive consequences that feel good?
Yes, absolutely.
It's really as simple as that. That's the law of cause and effect. The law of cause and effect is impersonal, unfailing, never fails to deliver a message. Never, ever, ever. It doesn't read your messages. It doesn't discuss your messages. It doesn't evaluate your messages. It delivers them.
Yeah. I think you look at the world in a completely different way when you know that. You live your life so differently when you realize that as well.
Yes. Yes, that's the huge transformation of consciousness that's happening now.
Yeah.
From 5 sensory to multi-sensory, from external power to authentic power. From trying to change the world by changing the world to changing the world by changing yourself.
Yes.
Everything is different. Everything is different. By the way, you can tell if this is really happening or not by looking around you. First of all, look in you. That's the first place you can tell where this change is happening. But everything that you see in the world that we inherited from 5 sensory humanity is built on external power, like we said at the beginning of our talk, including our social structures, such as education, health, business, jurisprudence, even the military. And they are all disintegrating now. They're all collapsing. And They don't have any salvage value because they're not broken. They're obsolete. They were built for and by a five-sensory species pursuing external power.
Yeah.
We are a multi-sensory species growing spiritually by creating authentic power. The old consciousness and five-sensory humans are leaving now. They're dying. I mean the consciousness.
Yes.
And so are their social structures are disintegrating. And the new multi-sensory human is emerging. And so are its social structures. So that's in Universal Human too. I love that discussion.
It's beautiful.
One of the things I love about writing books is I can really sit down with someone who's interested for hour after hour.
Yes.
And they only stay as long as they're interested.
Well, that's it, exactly. With this book, there is a lot to be interested in. You finish Universal Human talking about hope. And you say hope is necessary because without hope, there is no intention to grow. Hope is the first appearance of light in the sky after a night of darkness. Can you talk to us about hope?
You know, hope is something that is an experience of fear. If you hope for wisdom, if you hope for compassion, it's because you don't have hope. I mean, you don't have wisdom and you don't have compassion. You have hope for wisdom and compassion. When you become compassionate and wise, hope disappears. Hope is not a feeling, it's not an emotion, it's an energy. It's an amazing energy. It's at the heart of the universe. Not that the universe is hopeful, that's a projection of our feelings. When you look under a microscope and you see a single-celled organism coupling with another single-celled organism to make a more complex organism, that's hope. It's a reaching out. It's a combining. When five-sensory humans pursued external power, they did it with the hope that that was going to make their lives better, that they would live longer by manipulating and controlling their environment from very primitive circumstances such as being able to see the connection between a burning branch on a tree, on a lightning-struck tree, and bringing it into a cold cave to warm it. That's the pursuit of external power. And now it's grown and grown into what it is now. And its run is over. It's a dying consciousness. And a new consciousness is being born. And we are standing with one foot in one and the other foot in the other. That's what makes this brief period of time more remarkable, more exciting than any in the history of humankind. That's what I was talking about at the beginning of our talk. And at each moment, you're deciding which side of the line are you going to step onto. On one side of the line is cruelty, suffering, manipulation, control, carnage, despair. On the other side of the line is a new dawn, is new depth of meaning, new perception, new access to what is most meaningful and evident in your life from the impersonal perspective of your soul.
Yeah.
And that is where we are now. Every moment is a choice of intention, and you make it every moment. If you don't make it consciously, you make it unconsciously.
Yeah.
In other words, if you're not aware of what your intention is, you're not conscious of it.